Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. Now, before we get into it, I'd just like to inform you about a new website selling quality current and retro Spurs jerseys, okjersey.com. They sell all current and retro Tottenham Hotspur shirts in all sizes. They sell the current fan and player versions, as well as the 80s and 90s retro shirts, including my very favourite, the 1991 FA Cup final shirt. You can order very easily from okjersey.com, and if you use the code Chris, you will receive an 8% discount off your final order. You can also use the QR code on the top left of your screen. And by the way, they also have some training wear here and the 25-26 colour special edition jersey.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and another edition of the Spurs Chat Podcast, where sadly we will tonight be talking about another defeat. Bournemouth 3, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Oh dear, I thought for long periods of that game we was going to get back into it, but sadly we couldn't. Let's just go through the match facts and stats before I introduce the guests. Let's get this just up on the screen for you all. For Bournemouth, 41% possession of 41% possession, nearly 42%. Spurs with 58, 1.32 xG for Spurs, for Bournemouth, 1.4 for Spurs, 11 shots for Bournemouth, 16 for Tottenham, 3 shots on target for Bournemouth. Let that sink in. 3 shots on target and 4 for Spurs. Touches inside the opposition box, 15 for Bournemouth, 29 for Spurs. Goalkeeper saves, 2 Bournemouth, 0 for Vicario. 18 aerial duels, 1, 15 for Spurs. Fouls committed, 19 Bournemouth, 10 for Tottenham. 3 corners for Bournemouth and 7 for Spurs. Do I even look? We're 14th in the table. I'm not even going to share the table. We're 14th in the table. Ricky, let's get straight into it. How are you, mate? And actually, look, get it all out. How are you? What's your feelings about that game tonight? Oh, by the way, before you do, I suppose I better say we're live on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Sorry, my mind is totally scrambled. Come on, Rick. Get it off your chest.
Hello, Craig. How you doing, sunshine? Hello, guys. Hello, Lucy. Hello, everyone that's with us during this time. Jump into the comments and those that are watching along at this point and have not already been sick, bless you for joining us. I don't know, mate. I don't know. Okay. There were some bright pieces. There were some bright sparks today in the sense of some individual players. I thought Spence was, continued to run. I thought Tell done really, really well, building off of the back of the last performance. Polinia today definitely had moments in midfield. Bergvall had some nice touches, but I feel all of the good things that happened today were of an individual nature, in the sense of I think that one player had to get the ball and make it happen. I thought Xavi had a good game today as well, in the sense of linking up play and trying to get things moving when we were trying to get things moving. But I gotta say, bro, it's like I tried to really shake off the negative lens, right, and just look at Tottenham in a new light, because it was a new year, and that's literally lasted 7 days for me. Before the fact that I'm back here and I'm at the point where I've had enough, mate. The only thing that kind of gave me a crumb of mental comfort was thinking about Thomas Frank as a caretaker manager until the end of the season. Well, if he was caretaker, I'd sack him now. If he was if there is people still on the Frank train, well, I'm off that train, bruv. I'm looking for a train to go somewhere else, because the destination nobody knows, apart from somewhere no one wants to be. I am exacerbated with the style of football. We're a non-footballing side now. It comes from individual moments. That's where we kind of see the positives in our game. For me, I'd keep the free kick specialist coach, set piece coach, and
Not much else.
Let him crack on. But yeah, I'm totally exacerbated with it. In everything that Thomas Frank was supposed to bring to this club, I believe that he's failed on in 6 months being at the club. He hasn't made us defensively solid. The adaptations have been horrific. The transitions of play throughout whatever phase he wants to talk about, I haven't really seen. He's shown me nothing, mate. We're not beating the sides below us. We're not beating the sides above us. It's not convincing at all. And in contrast, even though Bournemouth, I believe that we're there for the taking tonight, easily, I think. But you did see a side that believed in their manager and believed in their way of play to get back into the game tonight, and rattle us. They knew it was really easy. It's really easy to rattle us. That's where we lose our discipline as well. You can see it's not harmonious whatsoever. I believe that another manager could take this side and get better out of them. But that's where I am right now, bro. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know whether I'm just looking at it with negative eyes or whether I'm just confused.com by the whole of this football, mate. I don't know how I feel. I don't know what to say about this side. It just winds me up now. I don't enjoy watching a game. I really don't. I haven't enjoyed watching a game in a long time. I can't remember the last time I celebrated truly, like from my soul and from my heart, for a goal that we've scored. You know. So yeah, I don't know where I'm at. I'm hoping you gents can help and the fans around the world that are tuning in tonight. I hope you guys can help a little bit with some clarity. But I don't know what to say, bro.
I'm with you, Rick. I am with you. And it's kind of your minds and everything's all over the place, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Gary, welcome back to the channel. This comment here from Paul, I couldn't agree more with this. I can't watch Spurs anymore. It hurts too much. And I put this in our group chat. It actually physically hurts me to watch us play football. How are you feeling, Gary?
I'm sick of them. I'm sick of the club. I'm sick of the manager. I'm sick of the shit that we're doing game after game. You know, I was there Sunday, and for 80 minutes, we were a slightly better team than Sunderland, and then we just threw it all away. And we've done the same thing tonight. We started good first 5-10 minutes. Then all of a sudden, we're 2-1 down, and you're looking thinking, how are we losing this game? Bournemouth are shit. But the thing is, we're more shit. Now, listen, we get back to 2-2, great equalising goal. We did try and get the winner. We hit the post. He pulls out a good save against Van der Ven. Yeah, that probably wasn't a penalty, but you could bet your life if Bournemouth got it, it would have been given. But ultimately, Craig, I was watching that game just waiting for that cunt that's going to City to get the winner, and he got it. And I'll be honest with you, I can't remember the last time I felt so angry and just, I don't have anything for the club anymore, mate. You know, all I have, I think, is like my friends and the fans. But I fucking hate this club now, mate. I hate the manager. I never wanted him. He's the most dull, boring, fucking arsehole I've ever seen on the telly. I've not watched one pre-post interview with him, and I never will, because I can't stand him. He leaves Brentford, and Brentford are flying. I am absolutely, completely, and utterly done with this club, this manager, and everything. It's just dog shit. You know, and listen, there was a few players out there that did a few little good things there, but ultimately we lose the game with a mistake from Jed Spence. Vicario's flapping again all game. I've just fucking had enough, mate. I hate them. You know, I'm going to bed angry. This is what this club does to you. You know, I bought them tickets for Sunderland months ago, and when the game come round, I thought to myself, what am I doing? Why am I going here? I went Bournemouth away last year, drove all the way up there and back for a 1-0 defeat. You know, and I said we'd lose 3-0 tonight. We might as well have lost 3-0 because 3-2, you're getting your hopes up. I'm just done with them. Done with them. You know, completely and utterly done with the manager, the club, and everything. And you mark my words, right? We will have Thomas Frank until the end of the season. You mark my fucking words. Even when we lose on Saturday to Villa, he will still be the manager on Monday, and he will still be the manager next week. But can you blame Thomas Frank for that fucking second half and letting that cunt cut in and get a winner? Surely you can't blame that boring idiot for it, and I hate him. You know, it's everything. It's the board, it's the manager, it's the club, it's the fucking players, the lot. We're shit, we're Spursy, we're done, we're a fucking laughing stock. And that's why my phone's blowing off with Arsenal fans, everything. And to make matters worse, City's dropping more points. That's hurting me more, City drawing than Tottenham losing. That's where I'm at now, mate. So for me, I'm completely done with this club, fully and utterly done with it. That's it.
Very impassioned chat there from Gary. Luke, how are you feeling, and what are your thoughts on tonight?
Yeah, pretty miserable, wasn't it? I agree with a lot of what the guys have said so far. And one thing in particular I agree with that Gary mentioned there is you are right, Gary. There's a lot of stuff I don't like about the way that Frank is approaching the football at the moment, but you can see problems all over the place. You're not looking at, I think we've seen this a bit in the past, but you're not looking at a team and thinking that's a well-beaten team there, you should be getting more out of them. There's a lot of players out there who are just massively underperforming. You've got a player, which to pick one player out so early, but just to pick out like Pedro Porro, for example, if you're a fullback, you can get away with being an average defender if your attacking output makes up for it. And at the start of the season, in fact, we got up to the Everton game where I think he got one, or at least maybe he got one of the 2 assists for the 2 Van der Ven goals. At that point, statistically, since he started with us in the Premier League, there was no fullback that had assisted or scored more than him, right? At that point. And then ever since then, we've just seen teams press him really heavily, and he just pings the ball up the right wing to Kudus. Now, Kudus wasn't there today, but the number of times that he just passed it to a red and black shirt, or he just looked completely clueless on where to go, or he turned around and passed it back. And then, I know we'll go over them later, but for at least the second goal, you've got to have your head on a swivel when you're defending with your back against the goal, and he just had no idea there was someone behind him. So there's stuff like that. A player who's clearly got some talent and quality and has shown that in the past, gone and completely underperforming. Some people might say that the system is doing that to the players, but my feeling is the players are underperforming. The manager is getting it wrong. And, you know, we're how many days into the transfer window now, and we're quibbling over a couple of million for a Brazilian left back who's 19. It just doesn't feel like anything's really changing, does it? It feels like the same stuff going round and round and round. So yeah, I'm frustrated with that result. I did see some things today. Ricky, you mentioned it earlier. Some of the performances, like Tell and Spence, I was really sort of impressed with the way they went about the game today. But at points, they would burst forward and look around them and go, "Who have I got?" And there was nobody there. And Xavi was doing the same thing. He was looking around and going, "Oh, I've got nowhere." Oh, there are some serious problems. I think a lot of people are to blame. Frank's going to be the one whose head's going to be on the chopping block, though, isn't it, when it comes to it? And yeah, just despite some good performances, it's so hard to take anything positive from that. And the general feeling, the other thing is, you look at those last 2 games. I mean, if we'd have drawn this today, you'd have said, okay, they've not won in 11 games. Sunderland were missing 7 of their first team players the other day. We went to Brentford. Brentford mustered up absolutely nothing, and we just decided not to either. It's trending the wrong way, isn't it? At the moment, it's going downwards. You've heard me probably say before on the channel that I'm one for giving managers time, but when you're 14th, you've had 3 games against teams that you really should be beating if you've got ambitions to even be a top 8 team. It's not good enough.
Yeah. Just this comment here. Thank you, Easy Mode King. Thoughts on Frank drinking from an Arsenal cup? I don't know if that's fake or real. I can't believe that is real, by the way.
It's fake.
It's got to be fake. So, yeah, I can't believe that would be real, but I think that's the least of our problems at the moment. Unbelievably, there's approaching 5,000 people watching this stream, and I think you know, it's quite unbelievable, actually. So I hope we can bring some cathartism to you this evening, talking about another defeat, sadly, but we will try and get into it. Ricky, let's come round to you. The lineup Thomas Frank went with this evening. We got Vicario in goal, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven and Spence, Bergvall, Palhinha, Bentancur, Kalamwani, Tell and Simmons. And you can see the bench there of Danzo, Davies, Dragushin, Gray, Kinski, Odebear, Scarlett, Williams, Barnett and Richarlison. What did you make of that lineup, Rick?
The only one I would have changed today would have been Bentancur from the start, just because he has been playing and starting nearly every game, and there has been dips in performances. I felt that he had a not one of his greatest games at all tonight, Bentancur. So, like for me, in my head, I would have gone Palhinha, Bergvall, and Xavi in the 10, and then go with Tell on the left. And Odebear on the right, with Richie up front. I would have done that, but seeing it, I was like, okay, fine. Let's see what happens. I was confused with how it looked on paper. In the first half, at moments, it looked like we went to a 4-4-2. It looked like that's how we was playing, and Bergvall was playing like as a hybrid right midfielder, centre midfielder at times. So yeah, the only one I would have changed really from the start, from my point of view, would have been Bentancur. I understand giving Kolo another chance, but that was another decision today that I was just like, come on, guys, like that first half, he done absolutely nothing. In fact, he hurt us more than he helped us in that first half when we did have flashes of 1-2 play and trying to play, get some football going. He hurt us more than anything, and the fact that he lasted 66 minutes today, that baffled me. That would have been one that I would have taken off at half time. Or if you want to say you don't want to take off a player at half time as a manager, then I would have given it until 50/55 max. And if I had seen the same as I saw in the first half, then that would have been him. There was a point where we made a sub, I think on 60. I can't remember which one it was. It was the first injury. It might have been Bergvall. I can't remember who it was. But there was a point where we made a sub around 60 minutes. And I would have felt that, why wouldn't you take him off then? I couldn't believe that you kept him on until 66. He was showing nothing as a centre forward, Go on,
Rick. Yeah, sorry, it's slightly off topic, and I can't believe I'm saying it to you and not Gary. But could you take your top off, please, because your microphone's rubbing on your zip and it's creating.
I take my top off? I'll take the zip down.
There you go. There you go. It was just clinking on it.
Innit? You have to show me the moves, Gary. You have to show me the moves, Gary.
Perhaps Ricky Norwood takes his clothes off. Perhaps that might be more entertaining than watching Tottenham.
Listen, look,
I'm here for it.
We're supposed to be Tottenham fans, not only fans, all right? Do me a damn.
There you go.
It's how boring the football is. We've got to find our excitement somewhere else.
That's right. Yeah. Right, lovely. Thank you, Rick. Sorry, had you finished what you were saying there, Rick?
Yeah. I was just speaking about Kolo. I just couldn't believe that he stayed on the field for that amount of time. Like,
pretty poor, wasn't he?
This is what you talk about, like manager decisions. Like that was one. Mourinho and Conte were very quick with their decisions. Whenever they knew that something wasn't happening, they did make a change, and you just kind of go, why are you persisting with certain things? There were good elements there in the first half, so you go, okay, cool. How can we build on that? We can see that the thing that's not working is Kolo right now. I'm not saying he's the worst player in the world or anything like that, but it's not working, so take him off. That's what your bench is there for. So yeah, there was so many things that just exacerbated me today, bro. But it was only about the lineup. That's what you asked me about, Craig.
That's right. Forgotten. Tottenham does this to you, mate. Honestly.
Oh, mate.
Jason saying he's a real image on Getty and Daily Express already. Roy Price writes there, I'm no Frank fan, but he cannot be blamed for players' passing skills. We're consistently giving the ball away. Can't agree with you more there, Roy, and thank you very much.
But that's to do with being rattled and not having a game plan. This is what I'm saying about the bright sparks that happened today. The bright sparks that happened today were individual players picking up the ball and driving and trying to make something happen. It was Tell taking a shot from outside the box. There were certain things. There was like, it was individuals that were trying. But like Luke said there earlier, every time that they made a run, there was nobody to pass to, or there wasn't an attacking action plan to go 1-2. This is what we're gonna do. Do you know what I mean? It didn't happen. And then when we concede a goal, you can see that we start to get rattled. This is when the snap passing happens. So they're trying to be quick now. They're trying to move the ball, but the short ball's now too short. The long ball's now too long. When you do pass it into somebody, you're passing it into somebody with two players on their back, so that when they turn, they're getting into trouble straight away. I mean, come on, like, what are we doing? What are the rondos about? Like, you do rondos all day long and you can't find the spare man. I don't know what's going on, bro. And like Luke said today, you know, like, speaking about Pedro Porro there, you look at his displays last season, and like you say there, the assists or the crosses and and da-da-da, and then you got kind of look today, and there was 2 or 3 points, like Luke was saying there's 2 or 3 points where he could have just knocked it in front, or a little clip ball or something, but because he was rattled, because now the team's rattled, he's then passing it or trying to be quick with it or trying to be clever with it, but pass it straight to a Bournemouth player. I mean, it's just, I'm done, Craig. I'm done.
He's done. Gary,
I'm gonna take it off. I'm taking it off.
Gary, I forgot what I was going to ask you. Oh yeah, a lot of people in the comments, and I do agree with it, saying that our attack is pretty poor. But we won a European trophy, you know, about half a year ago, didn't we? With these players, essentially. What's changed, Gary? What these players look like they've got no confidence at all. Isn't that up to the manager to instill that in the players?
I think that is what's changed, though, isn't it? You know, we won that European trophy. As you know, people can say, "Oh, it was a crap competition," that, the other, but we won it as a collective with Ange, and then, you know, a little while after we sacked him. And I think a lot of players, as bad as we was in the league, we put all our eggs in one basket. And they were buying into Ange. And I think, you know, I hand on heart, I don't think we'd be in a position we're in now. We wouldn't be as bad. I'm certain of it. I'm sure we'd be, you know, if we'd have kept it for that third season. So I guess there's just a lot of players out there. They're just not good enough, right? Let's be honest about it. We are a mid-table team at best, right? And the players that we've got at the moment are average. We don't really have any really good players, if I'm honest with you. They're just average players. Pelini, that was an amazing overhead kick, right? I'll give him his due. It was absolutely amazing. And I haven't really jumped up with a goal like that, I think, since Van der Ven done that run. You know, in I can't remember who it was against. Was it Copenhagen? I guess so long ago. But when he done it from his own heart, like, apart from that, there's no players really that jump at you. We're just an average team with an average manager and average players, but with sky-high prices. And that's just where we are at the moment, mate. And I think what happens as well is when we're drawing games, or even when we're 1-0 up, we're still very nervous. Do you know what I mean? And I saw a little different side of it, you know, because I don't want to be fully negative about the club, although I'm just had enough of them, and they've got me very, very angry. So I can't remember being this angry, the last time I was this angry with this club, but I think it's because they reel you in and you see glimpses, and then, you know, you go 1-0 up, controlling a game. You're 2-1 down to a team that were rubbish, that are offering nothing. The players, all the fans, because their fans didn't make any noise. The only fans making noise were our away fans. Bournemouth was silent. And then you get yourself back to 2-2. You hit the post. The keeper pulls out a great save, and you think, well, it's going to be a little bit disheartening because we're not going to win the game, but at least we got back to a draw, right? And then Dr. Tottenham lets him get the winner before he goes to City, and you just knew it was going to happen. So for me, I think a massive thing about it is the fact we sacked Ange and we just brought in a very average, mediocre manager. But I won't put it all on Thomas Frank, because I know, you know, like on the chat and all over social media, the first thing that people say when we finish a game like that is Frank out. And I get it, and I want him out as much as the next one. But Thomas Frank is going nowhere. He's here to the end of the season, so we have to try and do something. Whether that means trying to get a few players in January, but we have to do something because he's not going anywhere. And it's not because he's good, it's because there's no one else. And the other thing, we're not an attractive club. Who are we going to get? You know, I know Harry Redknapp was at the game tonight and he was talking about taking us over to the end of the season. I would just bring in Harry Redknapp because I think it would lift the club, because other than him, I don't even know who comes to this team, because from the top to the bottom, it's just toxic now, mate, you know? And the fans have had enough, and the players are arguing with the away fans at full time and stuff. And the players are falling out with each other, and there's just nothing there now, man.
Yeah, what happened at the end there, Gary? Or if anybody else knows, was somebody in the comments said Van der Ven was arguing with the fans at the end? I didn't see it. Is that right?
The away fans are frustrated, right? And listen, look, I'll give them their due. You know, even when we were 2-1 down, they were singing and everything. But I think part of the singing from some of the away fans now is we're almost just like, because they're seeing Tottenham get battered, because we're almost just having a laugh at ourselves, because it's so bad that what can you do? If you've paid your money and you've travelled, you know, 2, 3, 4, 500 miles to the game, what are you going to do? You might as well try and warm up and just laugh at it. But I just think tonight, ending the game the way that it did, it's just a proper knife, mate. It's just a dagger. And this one's going to hurt me for a while. And it's only going to get worse on Saturday, unfortunately. You know? But come Monday and next week when we lose again, he's still going to be the manager. So I don't know what the answer is. Individual mistakes. You know, that's the thing. You know, do you blame Thomas Frank for Jed Spence at the end there for that third goal? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's not a happy place, Luke, at the moment, is it? Or good club to be a fan of almost. And it's worrying, isn't it? It's very worrying. Look, let's get into the match incidents. I think we must do. Luke, I'll stay with you for this. Well, basically, we had a shot after 5 minutes. Bergvall, who was actually probably one of our better players on the night, I think, for me, a long-range shot on 5 minutes. And then literally a little bit later, this goal from Tell. Luke, what did you make of this goal? A really good goal, cut inside, really good finish, wasn't it?
Just to go back to that shot from Bergvall, I think that really summed up, in that first 5 minutes, the difference between, to be honest, most teams I've seen us play against and us. In about 2 minutes before that shot from Bergvall, you saw Semenyo make a run between Van der Ven and Romero to confuse them, and Evan Nilsson then slipped between the fullback and I think it was Romero, and they played him through, and he had a shot and missed, or it got deflected, I think. And 2 minutes later, Bergvall's running forwards. Moani's lost the centre half. He's moved to the right of him and lost him, but Bergvall decides to shoot. And you think that's the difference. And I kind of go back to what Ricky was saying. I think that is, whilst there's a lot of misplaced passes and maybe shooting at the wrong time, you do wonder if that's a coaching issue. Are they just not practicing that week in, week out? As Frank may be saying to them, because I know some managers, Mourinho used to do this. He used to say, I'm going to let you make the decision on the pitch. But he had Harry Kane and Son playing, you know. So, and the decision making is incredibly poor. And it might be because we've got a lot of youngsters. I mean, obviously Bergvall and Tell, very talented. To go to the goal, I mean, yeah, it was a really good goal. I mean, a nice little flick from Xavi. He's been doing a lot of those, and those things. It's kind of like in rugby, you see like a nice little offload. It kind of sucks people in and then gives a nice bit of space. I didn't actually expect him to take them on, but you know, this is the thing that he's received some criticism for, and so have some of our wide players. And it was great to see him do it. It took a slight deflection on the way in, but it's going in the right direction. So that's the key thing. And the sad thing about it is, although it's quite a bit closer, it's quite similar to the goal that we ended up losing to, isn't it? A finish like that to the far corner. But I mean, the Bournemouth defenders will probably be upset with themselves, but the quality that Tell showed there is why I think a lot of people are backing him and saying he's got a lot of promise and it's good. I think also it shows that all the talk at the moment is about us going for a left winger, although we don't seem to have actually moved for anyone. And perhaps he's thinking to himself, well, I need to start actually putting up some numbers here. But I thought he was brilliant the whole game, and I think because the goal was early, but it summed him up, his performance up. He was really good. Yeah, and a really, really, really good finish, and it looked hopeful at that point, but obviously wasn't.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, Tell's had a bit of criticism on this channel, but I thought he was really, really good tonight. Tell, at least he was trying to go forward and actually do something. And every time I've seen him lately, that's exactly what he's been trying to do. And he got his goal tonight. Well, Tell's goal was our first open play goal in over 10 hours, if you can believe that. Amazing, isn't it? Well, in 10 minutes there, Evan Nilsson shoots wide. 19 minutes, Romero heads over from a corner. It went very close. And on 22 minutes, Rick, Bournemouth get their goal back with Evan Nilsson. You have to say this was a pretty good goal, but I thought it was bad marking from Romero and Van der Ven because he just gets in between them.
Agreed, bro. Agreed. And it's like they wasn't aware of him, which is kind of surprising as well. Which, again, for a defensive coach, I look, mate, I'm so bad. I just keep going back. To how bad it is. But it's not being like, it's not trusting whatever's the message has been, because you're just almost like ball watching. You're just drawn to it, and you just leave gaps left, right, and center. And you do expect more from. Well, I definitely expect more from Mickey and Romero. So, but a good ball from Bournemouth and a good header. He had a couple of sighters earlier as well, and he was definitely warming up. So, good goal for Bournemouth, but it's just too easy, Craig. It's just too damn easy, Even that, like just hearing what you just said there, Tell's goal is the first open play goal in 10 hours. Is that what you said?
That's correct. Yeah, over 10 hours, I think it is.
So now we know why Brentford went for their set piece coach. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, what's the difference going to be here? Like we've turned into corner FC. We don't have to play football no more. I look, man. I know you say there ain't nobody, but you know what? Xavi's out there. Xavi Hernandez is out there, and it's a punt because he only had a couple of seasons, but he won for Barcelona. It'd be a name that inspired at least. At least it would inspire that team. Do you know what I mean? To lift them, to give them something. At least it gives us something to believe in for a minute, even if it is just the name and just because he's come from Barcelona. It would give us something to believe in for a second. It'd give the board something to go, you know what, to a new player, come and play for Xavi, and they'd probably be excited by that rather than Thomas Frank and the football that we're producing. And you know what, even with Poch, by the time we can get Poch, it's such a bad timing-wise after the World Cup, after pre-season, halfway through the transfer window, yada, 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 that it might disrupt us as well. So you know what? Get Xavi, give him 18 months because we love an 18-month contract, and then see what's happening. But I'm just over it, bro. Like this is supposed to be his bag, the defense. Do you know what I mean? And then they're switching off. If they're switching off, or I don't know, mate. I don't know.
I know, Rick.
Yeah.
Personally, I would do what Gary said. I would bring in Redknapp as an interim and then go and get Poch after the World Cup. I get what you're saying about pre-season, but if there's one man in the world that can galvanise this club, in my opinion, is Pochettino. Gary, carrying on with the game, 19 minutes, Romero heads over for a corner, and on 22 minutes, Bournemouth take the lead through Evan Nilsson. Talk us through this one. I thought this was another. Sorry, no, it wasn't. I've put the wrong one. Look, I'm all at 6 and 7. It was Groupie, wasn't it? Groupie on 36 minutes. Beg your pardon. Another decent finish from Bournemouth. Who was at fault for this, Gary? Do you think?
Yeah, this is not. You got Van der Ven, you got Romero. Just no one's picking anyone up. Do you know what? It's really weird to me because, like, are we the only ones that see players in so much space?
Look at that. Yeah, I know. Look.
Do you know what I mean? There's
Exactly,
so much
bro.
space and time, and you're looking at it and you're thinking, why is a player not closing him down, making it a little bit difficult for him at least? Do you know what I mean? But I don't know if this is a coaching thing. I don't know if the players have just given up. Like, I mean, there was glimpses tonight that they wanted to win that game, right? But those two goals that we conceded, they were so soft and avoidable. And the thing is, right, you can concede to any team at any time. I get that. but Bournemouth didn't even look like scoring. They were no threat whatsoever. I think you said they had 3 shots on goal, right? And they've beaten us 3-2. It's just so bad, mate. It's so bad.
Look at that marking.
Yeah,
look at that marking, Gary. That's what you were saying about. Look
Yeah,
at
it's absolutely
the
awful
guy who
because
scored Croupy.
there's too much time and space, Craig, and this is us all over. And we're supposed to have brought in, you know, a PE teacher that's all about defence and marking and, you know, playing tight at the back. But it's the opposite. It's worse than under Ange. I just can't. I don't know, mate. I just give up now. I've just had enough. Listen, look, I go back to Sunday. Like, we controlled it for 8 minutes against Sunderland. As soon as they hit the post, you knew they were going to get an equaliser, and then we're holding on, and we're at home. The confidence of the players, the team, it's like, I don't know. Did that team out there really think they could go on and win the game? They had a go, but listen, look, we were very unlucky tonight as well, right? There are glimpses where you've got to put your hands up and say, look, you know, Richarlison's hit that one off the post, almost a goal. That save against Van der Ven, you know, was a fucking mate. I thought that was in top bins, and even the penalty. I know we were all in agreement it wasn't a penalty, but I stand by what I said. If it was Bournemouth, it's given, because I don't think that's any softer than the one against us with Newcastle when Dan Burns has his arm around Bentancur's neck and pulls him down. You know, when your luck's down and your club's playing crap and the board don't back you and the fans are just falling out of each other and God knows what, this is where you are. And that's why we always knew that, you know, the soon-to-be City boy was going to get the winner. And it's sad. It's actually, do you know what? It's really sad tonight, mate. I don't even think I'm angry anymore. I just feel sad, you know that? Lost. Do you know that horrible, like, you've just got that horrible wrenching stomach feeling, and when that third one went in, I just knew that's it. We're not getting an equaliser, and it's just not a good time, mate. I don't know where we go from here, because listen, I know you're going to do score predictions soon, but I'll save you the time and the wait for me, because we're losing Saturday as well. So I just don't know. I don't know where the win comes from, mate. You know.
Well, yeah, I think we got West.
You know what?
West Ham shortly.
Frustrate me, mate. Sorry, but I'll just say one more thing. They frustrate me when they drop to the floor and, you know, hands on the head and all that. You're causing this, man. You're making individual errors. You know, like, these guys are on like 100 grand a week, man. Just play the game out. If you can't win it, just don't lose it. I mean, I don't know. And don't get me started on Bucaro, because I've had enough of him as well. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of him, man. He makes me too nervous, he does, I'll tell you.
Luke, just coming around to you. First half performance overall, it wasn't too bad, really, was it? But I genuinely thought we was going to push on in the second half. Did you?
Yeah, but the thing is, we've been particularly poor when we go behind. I haven't seen us very often this season manage to just sort of pull ourselves back together. And when an opposition team seems to be getting on top of us with their press and they seem to be finding spaces, we just seem to start dropping back. It's exactly what we did against Sunderland. We just seem to start retreating into our shell. And I've heard people say this before, that having leaders at the back sometimes and not in the midfield or up front can cause problems, because they're shouting at everyone to move forward, but everyone's just retreating back into them. You do need someone in the midfield with a bit of experience to grab everyone by the collar and say, come on, get out. Stop. Like what you start seeing, particularly when you've got Bentinha playing in there, is they start dropping in between Van der Ven and Romero. And to be honest with you, could have done with them there for the 2 crosses in the first half. But it's a frustrating thing to. At half time, I was feeling a bit hopeless. I thought a lot of the good work in the first 20 minutes. You know, in the first 20 minutes, actually, the thing that I noticed most was that we were defending quite calmly, and then we were actually getting more bodies forward. And Paulinho seemed to be intentionally trying to play the ball forward. In fact, he played a couple of diagonals into the corner towards Tell, which I haven't seen him do in any game this season. So I thought, okay, they're actually trying to get forward a bit, and then just ridiculously lapsed defending for the 2 goals. But yeah, as you guys have said, that Bournemouth weren't throwing anything up. But this is the thing, right? You don't really need to. If the opposition team just fall asleep in defence, you don't need to worry about attacking too much or having many chances. You can just win it by pumping the ball long and waiting for them to make a mistake. And unfortunately, Spurs just do that too often. The quality of Van de Ven and Romero just seems to... We're particularly weak when we've got our back against goal in our own box. We seem to be quite good at defending with more space. Maybe that's a hangover from having to do that a lot with Postecoglou. But as soon as we've got our back to goal, they just completely lose track of anyone around them, and they're very static. It's we saw a lot of goals like that last year. We're already seeing them this year. It just makes you think, what are they doing on the training pitch? What are they doing when they've got a lot of time on their hands? Because when you see the same thing happening over and over again, you think that now it's negligence. Now it's people spending time not working on something that is obvious to all of us, and we are all people that watch a lot of football, but none of us are really experts. They're the experts, and yet they don't seem to be able to fix it. So frustrating. But I did see positives towards the end of the half. But for me, I felt flat. The players must have felt flat. I mean, to be totally honest, if I were Frank, when they came in at half time and I'd seen the ball drop to the feet or the head of Bournemouth players when there were plenty of defenders there to make a challenge or put them off, I would have given them an absolute bollocking. To give you an example, we talk about Redknapp. It's my 21st birthday. My dad booked a box at the old White Hart Lane, and we saw Spurs lose 1-0 to Wolves in an absolutely terrible game. And afterwards, we got to meet Luka Modric, which was amazing. And one of the fans said to him, what did Harry Redknapp say to you at half time when you were losing? And in his sort of timid voice, he said to us, he shouted at us. And I was like, yeah, that's what you need a manager to do. And I wonder if Thomas Frank's doing that. Is he getting after him? Because I don't think he is. I'd be fuming. I'd be like, boys, what are you doing? That was basic defensive errors that you made in the first half, and we're 2-1 down. All the hard work you did, pressing and getting the ball forward and attacking in the first half, all gone to pot because you just couldn't defend two crosses. So 2 moments in 45 minutes proves to you that in the Premier League, you just need to take your chances, and that's it. At half time, I was feeling really, really deflated, as I am now. Full
time though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well. Chris has joined us from his car, I think. Chris, how are you?
Wow, Dr. Tottenham will see you now, certainly. Honestly, I hate that term. I hate the Spursy term. But I think you just showed the clip at the end of the game there. And Thomas Frank booed again by the Tottenham Hotspur away fans. And the closer he got again, it reminded me of the Brentford game on the 28th of December. And the Spurs fans, these loyal Spurs fans that go week in, week out to all of these away games, he has certainly lost those fans. And I've been saying in the last couple of weeks that he's been losing fans week by week, and he has well and truly lost the support of the away section. And for what you just saw there, those pictures, Van de Ven was very angry at the end of the game. He confronted a number of Spurs fans. Pedro Porro then did exactly the same. João Palhinha came over to the away end, and it looked like he was trying to calm things down. But of course, when you've got 3 players confronting your own supporters and the manager booed, all I can describe this is as what a mess, what an absolute mess at this football club right now. The club is going downhill rapidly, in my opinion. And sadly, I don't feel that angry because sadly, I feel like I'm getting used to this. And this is not a good thing. The manager booed for the majority of the time, either at home games or away games during his tenure at the football club. The players now getting involved and confronting the fans. These are sad, sad times. And I don't know where this is going to end up. Of course, this January transfer window is so important for the football club, and we need quality additions into this squad. Fabio Prasci and Johan Lange were both at the game today in the director's box, and as well as Harry Redknapp watching the game. But from what I'm told by all of the locals, he goes to a lot of the home games anyway, so I wouldn't read too much into that.
Quite near, isn't it?
What a mess. And I'll tell you what, Thomas Frank, he looks absolutely drained. He looks so tired. He looks absolutely drained of everything that is going on right now. But that's all I can say. what a mess it is, and where do we go from here? Because I tell you what, in my opinion, this cannot continue like this. No way.
Yeah, it was. Did you actually hear what the supporters were saying to Van der Ven, Chris, or did he just come over? Somebody must have been saying something to him.
Yeah, I didn't hear what they were saying, but obviously they were extremely unhappy, and some of the supporters were shouting stuff to Van der Ven. And if you play that clip again, Craig, you will see that he's almost saying me, and then there was a lot of confrontation towards him and the supporters. Confrontation as well with Pedro Porro, and I must say, in recent games, Pedro Porro has been one of the players that has always gone over the closest to the away end. But this time he obviously heard something as well that he didn't like. But as I mentioned, as I said, Thomas Frank, being as bold as he is, and he's always done this at Brentford, whether they've lost the game, won the game, drawn the game, whatever the performance has been, Thomas Frank has always been a fan of going over to the Brentford fans, and he's done that and carried that on at Tottenham. And of course, these last couple of games, the Forest game, the players and Thomas Frank were booed. And I must say, let me just make this very, very clear. The players were not booed off today. The players were not booed off. It was just for the manager, Thomas Frank. The closer he got to the away end again, more boos. We heard this at the Brentford game, and sadly, we've heard this again today. And, what next for Thomas Frank? Because, as I said, he's losing fans week by week. And when you lose the away supporters, how much time does the manager have? I know in the press conference in the embargoed section ahead of this game, he was talking about his relationship with Vinay Venkatesham, saying that, they have a very close relationship, but, things can't go on like this. Results like this, performances like this, it cannot go on. And when the players are now confronting the fans as well, and the fans are extremely unhappy, how long does this go on?
Yeah, wasn't it at Bournemouth where Ange had
he needs to be...
Sorry, Rick, go on. You carry on.
Am I cutting in? Sorry, Governor, I didn't know whether I was cutting in. Sorry, but no, he said that some of the fans they were keyboard warriors. They wouldn't say it to his face. And I said, be careful, be careful of what you're saying. Because when they do start telling you in your face, how are you going to feel then? Let's see if he's going Covent Garden tomorrow, bruv. Let's see if he's going Covent Garden for lunch tomorrow. And let's see what they say then.
Well, you can see Porro in these pictures. Somebody's said something to him that he's incredibly upset with. I'm not quite sure.
He can't cross the ball, mate.
It's remarkable to see these images, isn't it? It's Bournemouth again. Oddly enough, I think it was Ange Postecoglou that had a row with a fan when we played Bournemouth, wasn't it? I think these are not horrible. These are horrible scenes to see. Not nice to see. Where do we go from here? That's the thing, Rick. Where do we go from here? What should the club do next?
Can I just say, where do we go from here? I'm going home, so have a good podcast, guys, and I'll speak to you all soon.
Right, nice one, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. See you later.
Yeah, for me, bro. For me, bro. I think his days are numbered, and the quicker they make the decision, I think the better. I feel that he's almost rotting us now. I think that whatever he's asking, whatever this mission is, mate. Like whatever the game plan is, it's not working, and it's rotting us. It's not helping us. If everything about a good game is individual, bro, and there ain't no team play there, then what is it saying? If we can only score from a corner, what is it saying? Like I said, keep that set piece, coach. Keep him on the staff, and go with somebody else, bro. Like I would take a Redknapp until the end of the season. Of course, I'd take a Martin O'Neill until the end of the season, bro. But like, if you wanted to, bro. Something needs to happen, man, because it doesn't look like that there is anything for a guy that is supposed to have all the plans in the world. He doesn't have a winning one. He don't have a winning plan. He's instead of singing "We Get Battered," we're singing sideways and backwards. What's going on here, bro?
The away fans are just laughing now.
Fans. mate. But those
Can
away
you imagine,
fans.
Ricky? Can you
Go on.
imagine Redknapp telling Richarlison today that Sandra would have scored that when he hit the post? And then maybe
would love it.
Richarlison could go and get a podcast on TalkSport and pretend that he's always supported Arsenal as well.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. No, but you look at those away fans, and those away fans have been immense, especially the last 3-4 games, right? They always
mad,
are.
isn't it?
Yeah.
But they've been immense, bro. Like all of the songs,
unreal.
or like even some of the funny ones. Do you know what I mean? The sarcastic ones. But they've been trying to push this team on. They've been trying to lift them. They've been trying to back them ever since.
Apparently, they're not real fans, though. Thomas Frank said, isn't it?
Well, this is it, right? So you start poking the bear, bro. Like that's what happens. To hear that from Chris tonight, he's been alluding to it, like little bit by little bit, that he's been losing away support.
Yeah, Chris is done.
Left, right, and centre. But if he's done and the away support are done, bruv. Like
and you're done, Ricky, and I'm done. So that's it.
Craig
was done, 4 months ago?
I was having doubts in October, and I'd take no pleasure in saying that. Thomas Frank said in his press conference on drinking from an Arsenal cup, so it looked like it was real. I definitely did not notice it. It would be completely stupid of me to take it if I knew. It's a little bit sad in football that I need to be asked about it. I would never do something that stupid.
Are you telling me that's a real cup? I don't believe that.
Apparently, it was a real thing. I mean, who knows? Who knows? It could be, but that was. Yeah.
Let's hope it was a real thing, because that might just be what gets him out of his job. So that's a positive.
Well, Vino's going to love that, isn't he? Vino's going to be, I've got one.
So they'll make pizza for that in the Arsenal shop.
Gary, let's maybe I suppose we better get through the rest of the game. 55 minutes, Bergvall goes down untouched, which is never good, and he's subbed off for Odegaard. I think it's a muscle injury, another injury for Tottenham. 67 minutes, Richarlison comes on for Maloney, who I think Maloney we've already touched on. It didn't have a particularly good game. 69th minute, 2 minutes into the game, Richarlison hits the post. In my opinion, Gary, he should have scored that header. But he hit the post, and then Bournemouth went up the other end on 70 minutes. Enes Unal shoots wide. 72 minutes, Van de Ven awarded a penalty, but overturned on VAR review. Do you want to talk us about this? You've seen these given, Gary, haven't you? You said,
I've seen them given. I don't think the second part of that, where they were looking at, was actually where the contact was. I think it was more the first bit, because the first part, it looks like he just clips him, and then he's more running into the second part or the other player. Now, for me, I thought it was soft, but I said, you know what? There's not much in it. When they slowed it down, I looked at it. I can see the contact at the first bit, but he is running at pace. He loses balance and almost falls into the player. But ultimately, there's contact at the beginning. Now, it's one of those ones where if you get it, you're obviously really happy. You're thinking we got away one there. If it goes against you, you're fuming. But I stand by what I say. And if that was Bournemouth, that penalty would have been given, and VAR would not have got involved. And unfortunately, that's because we're away from home and we're Tottenham, and that is what it is. But you listen, you know, it is what it is. Van de Ven was very, very unlucky not to score a little while after that. So I guess it raised his game. And, you know, on another day, Van de Ven gets the winner and we're sitting here in a totally different mood. But that's football. You know, that's how quick it can change. And unfortunately for us, it did. But for me, soft, don't think it was a penalty, but neither was the one Newcastle got against us. So it is what it is.
Do you mind if I just disagree there on that for a second?
No, go for it, yeah.
I think to be honest, I thought I saw something that made me think that is definitely a penalty. The first contact is slight, but it knocks him off his actual running path. It changes his direction slightly. He takes an extra step to the right here towards where you can see the referee. Yeah. Then as he tries to correct himself again towards the ball, I'm not sure the defender is on the far left here. I think the referee sees that Van de Ven's contact with him maybe is more Van de Ven running into him.
Yeah,
but just as Van de Ven is planting his foot after that first contact, this defender steps in front of him towards him, which means that as he moves through that space to get to the ball, he makes contact with him. And it's the classic kind of thing you see defenders do, where they kind of pincer the attacking player. And if they don't quite make it through, they sort of bounce between them and they say, oh, it's slight contact. And it's like, yeah, but if it's slight contact twice and the player goes down, that's enough, isn't it? That should be a penalty. And you're right, Gary, I've seen it before. I've seen them given, and perhaps for other teams but I just think the first contact, he touches him on the heel. The second one is slight as well.
Definitely.
But it's twice. It changes the direction of his run. But when you watch that, when you go to a screen, you watch that slow-mo, you can't actually see the contact happen properly. What you're seeing is something that you could then make lots of assumptions about. Oh, Van de Ven jumps there. But if you're not looking down at the bottom and you can see that the player steps in front of him just before he then does that to say he's not making contact, then you would assume that Van de Ven has jumped over him. In slow motion, things like that look entirely different. And I think the referee's on-field decision was right. The other thing about it was he didn't make it instantly. If you noticed, he actually stopped for a second. He thought about it. Then he went, I think that is a penalty. I think I've seen double contact there. And then he goes to the screen with an idea in his head. And he's like, oh, okay, fair enough.
He's been influenced, I think, and you see this a lot. And this is where VAR really infuriates me. He's been influenced by somebody sitting watching it on the television saying, we think you've got this wrong, is basically what they were saying. Do you want to have another look? And that's what annoys me when VAR's trying to re-referee a game. I'm kind of 50-50 about it. I can see what Luke's saying, I can see what Gary's saying. So I've seen him given, I've seen him not given, but I just don't like that element of VAR. I like technology, I'm all for it, but it's still not being used right, in my opinion. But, we've been on the wrong end of a couple of those, haven't we? Let's face it, this season. Luke, let's just stay with you. 78 minutes, Paulinho. Let's talk about something good for 5 minutes. This goal from Paulinho got us back level. Incredible overhead kick, wasn't it?
He's got a bit of quality in him like that, hasn't he? I mean, the fact that's the second time that he's done it. I think the first time was the FA Cup against Doncaster, wasn't it? And he's scored a couple of goals like that. He's got a bit of a clutch goal in him. So, yeah, brilliant goal. And at that point, I think it was probably about 20 minutes before that. I don't know if you noticed this, but that deflated nature I had, it didn't dissipate when the second half started. I thought we started really poorly again. And then, weirdly enough, when Bergvall got injured and Holliday came on, they did spark into a bit of life then. And I felt like we were trying a lot more. We were moving the ball a lot more around the box. I think maybe when Richarlison came on and was sort of behaving slightly differently to Maloney in the box, we were suddenly becoming a bit more of a threat. Richarlison obviously hit the post just before that. And then, what a finish. I mean, if you just look at that image there, you can see he's got almost half the Bournemouth team around him. And he's managed to get that through them, or over them, rather. So a lot of people criticise him because of his sort of maybe not brilliant passing range, but he has got a real spark and a quality in him. It's not a coincidence that that's the second time he's done that. So, yeah, it felt a bit hopeful at that point. It felt like the game was turning. We were moving the ball faster. Holliday was trying things. He was looking brighter. Again, Bournemouth were giving us absolutely no trouble at all. When we were defending them halfway in our own half, with good space between us and Vicario, we were okay. We were managing that. We weren't letting them run in behind. It was looking okay. But as soon as we started retreating, it changed. So, yeah, the goal looked like it was going to spark us into life and maybe get a winner, but unfortunately wasn't to be.
Yeah, unfortunately wasn't. And, actually, just before the Semenyo goal, 84 minutes, Petrovic, unbelievable save from Mickey van der Ven header. Just tips it over the bar. Unbelievable save. That was 86-minute. Gray came on for Bentancur. Looks like another injury for Bentancur. Hopefully it's not too bad because we're running out of players. And Rick, coming round to you, in the 95th minute, this had to happen. Semenyo does what Semenyo does. His parting gift to the Bournemouth fans and scores the winner against us tonight. Talk us through this one.
Yeah, I mean, again, he picks up the ball on the wing, finds a bit of space and lashes a great shot. And like Gaz said a little bit earlier, it was almost on the cards. But I think we could have done a lot more to prevent these moments from happening because they've happened far too often. They've happened the whole season. You know, I'm thinking about Villa. I'm not going to go through it all, but there's been too many moments where this has been the case that we not only give the opposition encouragement, but we rattle ourselves so much that it's almost like we cheer them on to score. I don't know, mate. Like the energy wise, and I think there was a lot of character in the boys tonight, but we've got boys with character. A lot of them do have a bit of character. I do have a bit about them, but again, that then leads to an individual style of playing. It leads to one player trying to make something happen. And also, you know, you're speaking about we're running out of midfielders. Paulinho pulled up, I think, on 85 and played the last 15, limping. So that would be Bergvall, Bentancur, and Paulinho in one game. Hopefully, it's not that, but you know, this is Tottenham, so of course we need a midfield. Of course we need a midfield crisis now as well, on top of everything else. Even more to do on the shopping list that we won't bloody well do. I'm sorry, I'm miserable.
Unbelievable.
I'm so...
No, mate, I get it. Look, you'll be pleased to know the game's finished talking about now. So next up, a nice easy game, Aston Villa in the FA Cup at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday. Almost pointless going through the previous results because this is the FA Cup. There's going to be changes from Villa, and you would think from Spurs, probably forced changes because of the injuries tonight. Gary, coming round to you, what sort of team do you see us putting out for this? And if you dare, give me a score prediction.
Well, I think he's got to try and put a strong team out. I mean, this is our last chance of anything. But Craig, honestly, mate, like, we're done. We're losing on Saturday. We're out of the FA Cup, and that's the season finished. It is what it is, mate. I'm not going to try and paint a picture that, you know, we're going to put a strong side out. We're going to come back with a result. We're going to go again. And, like, you know, listen, at half-time, I've been doing this on most of the games we've lost, and I put behind at the break, ... ends in defeat. And that's what happened. And the same thing will happen on Saturday. And people can say, oh, get behind your club, you're negative. You know, it's just where we are now. That's it. You know, there's nothing to tell me that we are going to beat Aston Villa on Saturday. It just is not going to happen, mate. So I think we'd have more chance if it was Man City. I could still be positive then because we can pull off a result against Man City, but we're losing on Saturday, going out of the FA Cup, and Thomas Frank will still be our manager on Monday. And that's it.
Yeah. I'll do what somebody said. Steve, friend of the show, who runs Villa, are going to beat us 5-0. Thanks, Steve. You cheered me right up.
He might be right. He really might be right. Because if the players are on that pitch arguing with each other and arguing with the fans, they might get a few more goals. You know, I mean, listen, I just want to touch on that quickly. I'm trying to think of the last time the Spurs players went up to as many fans, as many players as that, and got into them sort of confrontation and arguments and rows. Because it must have been quite a while, you know. It has happened, but it's been a long while. That's when you know there's no coming back. It's done. That's it now.
Doesn't it remind you of Christian Gross, mate? And
I think so.
Mate, give him a travel card. It reminds me of Christian Gross, bro.
Yeah.
It's like those times. It's that feeling inside. You're just like
horrible. That feeling in your gut.
Yeah.
Oh, God. You're bringing back some really bad memories, Eric. Jesus.
But that is not me, mate. That's Frank. He's doing it.
I think Ricky's right, Craig, you know, because I don't know what Luke thinks about it, but I think we are as bad as back then. I think our football, our identity, we've got no creative players.
XG.
And I know, listen, you could argue, okay, we've got no Solanke, Mads and Kulu are not there, but would there be a massive difference if we did have them back? I don't know. I think Tottenham at the moment, under Thomas Frank, in the way that we're playing, just always find a way to just lose or let us down. And even when we don't lose, a draw feels like a defeat.
And I don't think it's speaking negatively about us and bigging up every single side that we play against is a smart thing to do either.
No.
Sorry, it was just supposed to be predictions.
Go on, Luke.
I think it is. It does feel as bad as it did in the 90s. It really does. It feels really, really hopeless. But there's one or several really big differences, though, behind the football and the manager. And that's that we now pay the most expensive ticket prices in the entire Premier League.
I'm glad you mentioned.
We are one of the top 10 richest clubs in the world.
Yeah.
Right? That is a load of rubbish. That is insane. We weren't in the 90s. We still had an enormous fan base and a rich history, but we had an aging ground, and we had, I can't say anything bad about Alan Sugar, because if you saw what he did with Jamie Redknapp recently, threatened to sue him on live TV, so don't say anything bad about him. But the ownership at that period of time was working on, making the club better, let's say. But it was not good. The club wasn't doing great. It was building itself. Look at it now. I mean, I've got the picture behind me. That thing is that does not match with what we're seeing in terms of anything we've won and what we're seeing in terms of the football. And one of those two things has got to change. Either the football's got to get a lot better, or they've got to start charging us less to watch it.
Yeah, agreed.
Luke, is the football going to get better, though? Can you see this football getting better?
I don't think the football's going to get better, and I don't think the prices are going to get lower. So I think, unfortunately, I think it's a bit of a miserable.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is the problem at the moment, and I think this is the frustration, especially for the home fans as well. Like the away fans, I know the prices are capped, right? It's 30 quid, 35, whatever, but it's still the people forget about the travelling, the accommodation, the hotels, right? All that sort of stuff. But for them home fans, I mean, like them season tickets like start from about 900, 980, 1,000 a year now. Like, when you talk about premium, you're talking 5, 6, 7 grand right up. I mean, they emailed me about the Tunnel Club, and they wanted, I think it was 30 grand a year for the Tunnel Club. Could you imagine being in the Tunnel Club or the H Club, and you're paying? I know a few of the guys that are on here that always watch it. Matt's one of them. He's a member of the H Club. That's like 20, 25 grand a year. I mean, it's not going to cut it. Even if you get a nice bit of steak, you can't enjoy it when you're watching that. You see what I mean? And that's the thing, right? When you look at some of the other clubs and they put out poor performances, Luke, I'm glad you brought this up, because I think that's what frustrates me the most. Me, my boy, and his mate went on Sunday to Sunderland. So you're talking about driving down there, the parking, the food, the tickets. It was 200 odd quid, And I remember I was going to go to Tottenham Man United, right? I think I said it on the WhatsApp group, and I wasn't going, but then my work fell through, and I thought, do you know what? Let me go to that game. I think it was 12:30 kickoff, right? So I went on the exchange at 10 o'clock, bearing in mind it was a couple of hours before kickoff. There was thousands and thousands of empty seats available, and no ticket on there was cheaper than £65 each. And that's for a kid, because they're the first ones to say, you can't buy a junior ticket as an adult. Okay, fair enough. But I've got to pay an adult price for my kids when it goes on the exchange. So you're talking 135, 140 quid, which was another game we threw away in the last 10 seconds of the game when United were down to 10 men. It's not changed. It's the same thing. Oh, mate, this is what I mean. If you were paying QPR prices, like I've got a lot of friends who are QPR fans, right? And I compare QPR to Tottenham. We're very, very similar. We can go a few games, get a good result, then we put out a few bad performances. But when you're paying £259 for a season ticket, you can accept that a bit. But when you're starting from £1,000 and you add another £1,000 on top of that for travel and food, this is why people are angry and why home fans are booing. When people say, oh, they shouldn't boo and everything else, can you blame them? Can you blame them away fans for having a go at the players and everything else?
Everything's got to change. There's a lot's got to change at this club, and who knows? They might even make a managerial change after tonight. Who knows? Oh, it's unbelievable. I'm going to play Thomas Frank's press conference for you all now. This is 5 minutes. If the evening isn't bad enough, I do apologise. This is 5 minutes long, so enjoy.
It felt like a game that you had the chances to win, but obviously it must be so frustrating to lose it at the death.
Definitely. I think It's very tough to sit here right now, and we haven't got anything out of overall good performance. I think we started well down here, got up 1-0, conceding 2 goals on second phase set pieces, and especially the second one we need to do much better. But I really like the character in the team and from the players that gave everything. The second half, I think we were completely on top. And keep going even through disappointments and small setbacks we talked about before. Work very, very hard with the players and the team on that. Don't scoring inside the post from Richie, overturned penalty. Keep going, getting the equalizer, 2-2. After that, I think we are closer to win than Bournemouth are, with the Mickey header, with other good opportunities. So to sit here, concede in 5-6 minutes extra time is very painful, very tough. But that's football. It's margins of football.
What did you make of the penalty being overturned?
I think it's a 50-50 situation.
Yeah, and can I ask you about injuries, Bogle and then to call down?
Of course. I don't know exactly the update. Of course, my initial thought is probably not the top with Lucas when he's off the second time in, what was it, Crystal Palace when he went off, I think it was. So, yeah.
Just going to ask very quickly about Kudus, because it's first time since we can't speak to him since the scan. Is it a bad one?
We know more. When we see each other, I can't remember when is that, tomorrow, yeah. We know more tomorrow. Yeah.
We have to ask you about how unfortunate image before the game, the Holliday Cup. It's got Arsenal branding on it. Presumably got passed it to you. Did you not notice that it was just doesn't...
Definitely not notice it. I think it's fair to say that we're not winning every single football match, so it'll be absolutely completely stupid of me to take a cup with Arsenal. So anyone thinking I've done that, or the staff has done it, they've been in the changing room or the game before us. It's normal, take a cup, give me a espresso, do that out before every game. So I think actually it's a little bit sad in football that I need to be asked a question about that. I think we're definitely going the wrong direction if we need to worry about that me having a cup with another logo of another club. Where of course I'll never do that. That's extremely stupid.
Thomas, just on the winning goal, obviously Semenyo is about to leave Bournemouth. He scored an incredible winning goal. From a defensive point of view, how did you see that goal?
The easy thing is to say we can never concede that. I think I'm more our goal against Sunderland. That's after I looked at back that we can never concede. This one we can never concede it anyway. I need to watch it back a little bit more calm-headed. Is of course extra time, but get everyone behind the ball. It's not like it's a transition where we have 3v2 something looking absolutely hopeless. This was a situation where they've given everything, but and then you finish on an angle quite far out on the side of the goal, which is not going to score every single time, but it did today.
You mentioned about the 2 goals that you conceded in the first half. They were almost kind of identical in the positions that the cross came in. Was that just a case of players not getting out to the player, or was it kind of a structural breakdown?
I think the second one is the biggest one. We need to accept sometimes the teams do something that is okay, but the second one needs to do better.
And then obviously with the injuries as well, does this kind of necessitate even further the club getting into the market in January and doing some business really quickly?
We, as I said quite a few times, we are in the market. The club is working very hard they can. It's difficult in January, and we need to get players in that can improve the squad.
May I ask you about, there seem to be some exchanges with the fans in the away end at the end between your players and them. Was there anything that troubled you, or is it just frustrations that you sort of understand?
I haven't seen that situation. That's one thing. I think it's fair to say everyone involved in Tottenham, players, staff, fans, everyone, is a tough one to take today. I think hopefully everyone can see how hard we work to get everything in the right direction. And I think overall the performance was good, especially the second half, and a game where we deserve to get more. That is extremely painful to be part of. So of course, people are frustrated. I'm frustrated. So that's natural.
Okay, thank you.
Same, guys.
A lot there, really, but I think the main takeaways from that, Rick, for me, Thomas Frank looks stressed, I suppose is the most polite word. He's got to know the pressure is ramping up on him now. It all falls at his door, doesn't it? What next? Do you think the club are going to act on this? Do you think they're going to sack him, or do you think they're going to back him?
I really don't know. They've come out and they've said that they're going to back him. But I really don't know. The thing is that this is all part of the challenge of a step up from Brentford to Tottenham, right? You accepted this challenge. You wanted this challenge. You wanted European football. First time you've been in Champions League. You wanted to compete at the highest level. Yes, okay. Last season wasn't the greatest, but we all know why it wasn't the greatest as well. The system with at least 13 players out for the majority of the damn season, and then putting all your eggs in the cup. You know what I mean? Like, we know what it was, right? So he's had a couple of creative injuries and stuff like that, but he's had the majority of the squad for a while, and we haven't seen many improvements. We've seen some good results against poor opposition, against teams where we should have won really and truly, but we haven't seen much since the first couple of games of the season. So right now it's up to Thomas. And that coaching staff, and his little tactics board. Figure it out, mate. Figure it out. Show us what you're about. Show us what you got. There was a point where Conte was at Chelsea and he was playing four at the back. And I think he lost against the Gooners. And then in the next game, he was like, you know what, forget this. I'm going to play it my way. I'm going to do it my way. And he went to a back three and they went on to, I'm sure they won the league that year. But there's moments like that happen throughout the league. And if he is going to be here, then it's up to him to turn it around. You got to show me what your mettle is as a manager when it comes down to these type of positions, these type of situations, these type of pressurized moments. This is what you get into competitive sport for. It's for pressurized moments. And like Shearer said, pressure makes diamonds, right? You know what I mean? So it's right now. It's a pivotal time for all of those boys, and you can see that. Yes, I will grant, and I'm glad that he said it in the press conference that the boys did show character tonight. There was character within them. They were going for the winner at 2-2, which I was happy about. But there are so many holes and gaps that we've seen that you're just going, what's going on here? We don't see a style of football. The only time that I've been confused about Frank's style of football for so long. The only way I can describe his football is relegation style football. Hoping. It's on a hope. It ain't on a plan. It ain't on a mission. It ain't on a certain pattern of play. It's on hope. And hope comes from individual players. And do you know what I mean? And that almost seems like the game plan. And that's not the game plan to go for. So right now, Frank, it's up to you, mate. It's up to you. Yes, you look stressed. Yes, you look... Yeah, you should. You should, bro. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You've been here 6 months and you've done nothing.
Yeah.
This ain't Brentford. I don't know, bro. We've spoken many a time about managers fitting a club. And personally, I don't feel he fits us. I feel that he fits a Leicester, a Wolves, a West Ham, maybe a Palace. I could see him manage it. I don't think he fits us, But it's up to you to turn it around, and so that I can then say in the next podcast, you know what, Thomas, I was wrong. I can hold my hands up and say we went through this for a reason, so that we could get to this point and play this style of football, but ultimately win the game as well. It's up to you now, bro. It's up to you, Frank, to turn up and show us what you're about. It's up to them coaches to show us what they're about. I don't understand what they're talking about all the time. They're always talking in a bench. It's great communication in inverted commas. Great, yeah, but what are you talking about? Because how it took 66 minutes to take off Kolo Muani today, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, are they playing Sudoku on the bench? I haven't got a clue what they're doing on that bench. So it's up to you. It's up to you to turn it around. It's up to you to show us what you're about. It's up to you to stop being the worst manager in Tottenham's history. If you're telling me that we're feeling like this is Christian Gross football, like, my goodness, like, it's up to you to turn that around while you've got the opportunity. Yeah. But we've got games in succession and nothing's getting better. How many times have we heard the players say, rather than train, they prefer to play? Well, you've had games in succession where we've seen nothing. We've seen the same goals conceded. We've seen the same gaps. We've seen the same lapse in judgment. We've seen the same lapse in discipline. We've seen the same frustrations. We've seen the same confusions. You know, there hasn't been a clear path or a clear message or a clear pattern of play or anything that resembles anything that is called clarity. So sort it out, bro. Sort it out. It's up to you.
Thanks, Rick. Your microphone's tickling your zip again.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's getting people more angry than the result tonight.
The noise is more annoying than Richarlison attempts.
Oh, dear.
Oh dear!
Sorry,
well, look,
sorry, gang.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, you'll be pleased to know Ricky sorted that out. He's almost taken his top off now. Has Gary or Luke, you got anything else you want to add to the show before we go tonight?
No, just listen. Look, you know, I just feel for the fans that went all the way up there tonight and stuff. And listen, look, I appreciate everyone's comments. Everyone has an opinion. Not everyone's going to agree with me, but me personally, tonight was just the last straw for me. I was just very, very angry. To concede to him, I don't even want to say his name. You knew he was going to get a goal. You knew he was going to get the winner. For me, Craig, there's been too many similar instances like that. It's like, you know, I went to North London Derby, travelled all that, not far, but on the train, on my own, met Chris and the boys down there. Eze gets a hat-trick. These things just always happen. He's hardly even, like, played for Arsenal since. These, you know, Tottenham always does these things, mate. And I just think, for me, you know, I was considering, depending on the result tonight, I might go on Saturday, but I'm going to stay as far away from that stadium as I can on Saturday. I don't even generally think I'll even watch the game on Saturday night, mate. I'll just, you know, I'll either get some work in or I'll go out and I'll just check the result. And if we win, I always want my club to win. If we win, I'll love it, I'll enjoy it, and I'll watch it. But, you know, even that, Craig, you know, like you feel this season that, yeah, if we beat Aston Villa at home in the cup, great, it gives us a lift. But does anyone, hand on heart, genuinely think this team could go all the way to the final and win the FA Cup? I just can't see it. I can't see it under Thomas Frank. I can't see it with the players. I can't see it with our injuries. And I can't see it with the January window because we're not going to get any decent players in now. You can have a go at the board for that, but it's not really a kind of a club you want to come to at the moment. What if you're a player? Do you?
Yeah, that's what worries me.
You know, there's nothing really like kind of. Do you know what I mean? And I think, and I worry for players like Van der Ven and stuff. I really do, because I think we need to sort stuff out quicker. Or them sort of guys are going to be on their way, mate. You know, we really have to. We have to do something. But I don't know what the answer is, guys. Because for me, I'd sack Thomas Frank tonight. And I've been saying it all season. He's going to be our manager to the end of the season, no matter what. And I know it sounds awful, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think he will be. So I just don't know what the answer is, lads. I really, really, really don't, man. It's a shame. No. But yeah, other than that, it is what it is.
It certainly is. Luke, you got anything to say before we go?
Yeah, I just don't know what. I mean, if you remember Venkatesham's interview at the start of the year, and he said, "Oh, we did a really thorough process, and we had, what was it, like 10 criteria in which we went through to pick Frank, and those 10 points have got to also be the 10 things that they are then judging him on as the season goes along, and you cannot tell me that those 10 things are not being stretched to their absolute limit right now. Whether or not it's using the right players, developing players, or results, or style of football, or anything like that. I think that Frank and his team, it's all of them together, are failing on multiple counts, but the club's failing as well. The thing I worry about is this horrific chicken and egg thing we've got going. Now, we all sat here in the summer when Frank was being announced, I was on a fan show here speaking to, I think, Craig and Chris. The thing we were saying is that, here we go, another manager is going to be hung out to dry. I think it was just after Eze had gone to Arsenal and we hadn't got Xavi over the line. And we were sitting there saying, he's not got the right players in. He's going to be hung out to dry. 18 months' time, he's going to be gone again. It's the same thing over and over again. It's happened even quicker this time. It's been 6 months. And that's because he has, I think, misjudged. I think this was something Ange got very right, is he really understood the culture of the club and he understood what the fans wanted, and he kind of got that, and he also fit that in a way. There was problems there as well, but I don't think Frank has got that. I don't think he's quite understood that. I don't understand that, why that wasn't one of Finketesham's 10 points. It's got to be someone who understands what we want to see at the football club, because we do want to see results, but we also don't want to be bored to death. So there's that side of it. But I just worry that we're in this position now where we've got to a January transfer window and we're going to really struggle to sell this project to anybody because it's clearly not doing very well.
Yeah.
So if we don't buy anyone, we've got a limp to the end of the season with one left back and with no real sort of natural left winger, which is just not good enough if you have ambitions to finish in the European places. At which point you go back to the end of the season again. And you say, well, what was the conversation they had when they hired Frank? What did they say? I was talking to Chris about this on the fan show the other day, and Chris said, what I think as well, which is that they must have said to him, you've got to get European football. Even if it's Europa Conference League, you've got to get European football. That's what we expect in your first season. But he must have said to them, I don't think you've got the tools to do that easily. We're going to have to overperform to achieve that. I don't think we've got the right players. The fitness is bad. We've got a lot of injuries, and we're struggling to attract people, and we never spend as much money as the people that finish above us, and that includes teams like Aston Villa and Newcastle. So unfortunately, I think that both sides of the club and the boardroom and the manager and his team, I don't know what their plan was at the start of the season, but it's failing miserably. Someone's just said it there. I was about to mention it. Saturday would be, if we lose, that's the competing on all fronts thing down to 50%, isn't it? And well, let's say 25%, because the league's well gone, and we're certainly not going to win the Champions League. So,
No.
What are the board doing in terms of how they're assessing him? They've got to go, well, we've missed all of our targets, really. But do they stop themselves and go, well, we haven't achieved any of ours either, because we haven't given you the players you wanted or needed. The squad is still thin in areas, and you're having to cope with literally, this is not an exaggeration, but we have literally the largest number of injured players in our squad in all of Europe's top 5 leagues. It's the worst injury crisis in Europe at the moment. So this is not me defending Frank, but I'm just trying to say that, I've watched that press conference and felt for him a bit, because there's a lot of other stuff going on that really needs to be fixed. And I do. It's a bit doom and gloom, but I do worry about the future of the club if we can't achieve on one end getting the right players in, but we can't have the manager to attract them either. It's basically what it means is we've got to get someone in who excites us in some way and attracts players. And I hate to say it, because I think that last season, Europa League aside, was very damaging for the club in many ways. But Ange did actually have that. He was able to do that. He did convince people to come and play for him. He had a vision. They liked it. He was very good with the players. I just don't see that that's happening with Frank at the moment, and that's really unfortunate. But it's just a massive failure. This was supposed to be a restart, and 6 months into it, we're looking at it being a bin fire. So a bit depressing. Unfortunately, it's hard to find much of a silver lining in it. And I think that the worst thing about it is, if we sack him or we keep him, I think we can all see now we've got a rough few months ahead. Either way, it doesn't really matter which way we go now.
We have, and yeah. I mean, if you're of a nervous disposition, don't look at our fixtures in February, because they ain't for the faint-hearted. Chaps, thanks so much for coming on and discussing another loss, and always difficult, but we hope we've given you all a bit of cathartism tonight, and that we're all suffering. It's it's just another loss, isn't it? And it's difficult to take. Luke, thanks so much for coming back to the podcast. Where can people find you if they want to give you a follow on social media?
Yeah, I'm hotspur.stats on Instagram and on X. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks, Luke. And Gary, very emotional evening. Thanks for coming back on. Where can people find you if they want to give you a follow?
Yeah, thanks, Craig. And listen, thanks for everyone tuning in and stuff. And listen, like I said earlier, you know, we've all got opinions. Some stay a little bit more calm. Others get a little bit more angry. But yeah, I have chilled out a bit. But when I first come on, I was just so angry tonight. And I hate that this club and this team does this to you. And of course, you're going to keep supporting and following your club. But yeah, listen, you know, I'll probably get glimpses of the game on Saturday. I don't think I'm going to go to it. But you know what, Craig, like no matter what, we'll do these podcasts. We'll come together as a family and we just got to ride the wave, you know. I don't really know what else to say. It's a tough time to be a Tottenham fan, you know, with Arsenal so far out in front, City dropping more points and us throwing games away like we did tonight. It's not easy, man. But I think what I might do afterwards is I might watch the final again because I've been...
Cheer yourself up. Yeah, absolutely.
I've been just watching the final, just remembering, because it's mad to think in May we won a European trophy. You know, it's absolutely bonkers when you think about, you know, all the boys. I don't know if you was there, Luke, but, you know, at the final and in the parade and just how low it's become. It's actually unbelievable, really, isn't it? It's sad, really, isn't it? It is really sad, but at least we did get that trophy in, lads. That is a positive to end the show with. We did get the monkey off our back and we did win a European trophy, you know? And who knows? Maybe Arsenal still might bottle it. You never know.
Do you really think they will now, Gary? I've just got a horrible feeling.
Because it's Woolwich and they're capable of it and they've got history. So the same way, you know, we're Spurs and we can blow a game away like we did and let someone that hasn't scored for God knows how long get the winner like it always happens. I think Arsenal can still bottle it, yeah. And I'm confident of that. So I'm going to hold on to it. Until they physically won it, there's always a chance.
That is very true. That is very true. God. Well, look, let's live in hope that Arsenal don't win. I don't know what to say on that. Let's hope that Arsenal don't. I just had this thing flash through my head of Arsenal lifting the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? Did you see it?
It's horrible, isn't it?
Oh, God, shake. Get rid of that. Thanks, Gary. Ricky, it reminds me a bit of that line out of Shawshank Redemption when Andy Dufresne says he doesn't expect, he was in the path of the storm or something like that, but he didn't expect the storm to last as long as it has, and that's kind of what it's like being a Spurs fan, isn't it? So thanks for joining us again and joining me. We've done a lot of these so far this season. It probably won't be the last, but where can people find you on social media if they want to give you a follow?
Well, you guys know where to find me. You can find me at Ricky J. Norwood on X, official Ricky Norwood on Instagram, and check out T-Talk on Tottenham. And you can find that on X, Instagram, and YouTube. All one word, you'll find me there. But, bro, I've had enough of these. You know, Frank promised us 10 Shizer games, and I'm sure it's been more like 27. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I've had enough, mate. I've had enough. Come on, man. Something's got to change. The tide has got to turn because there's so much good things that could happen with this club and with this side and with this shirt. And we should be in a different position right now. It should have been the springboard. You're absolutely right, guys. And it's not like that can't happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, positive change can be amazing. You know, changing the energy around the place can be amazing. Getting a few players in, or if that's a new manager, it can be amazing. It can be transformative. Look what happened with Gerrard and Emery at Aston Villa. Happened in one season. So, like, it can happen. Let's hope that something does happen that changes this. Whichever thing that is, please, come on. Because it's got to end at some point. Come on, gents.
You would hope so. That's a good way to end, Ricky. A little bit of optimism there. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on what's been a difficult show, but we hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you again on the next one. And remember, it doesn't rain every day. And please don't have nightmares. Please do sleep well. Come on, you Spurs.